This is Stacy Marshall with Printwear Magazine.
Matt Vassallo with the RhinestoneWorld.com.
Richard Greaves with ScreenMaking.com.
Brian Walker with RTP Apparel.
You are listening to the Two Regular Guys
Podcast.
Hosted by
Terry Combs.
Terry Combs.
Terry Combs.
And
Aaron Montgomery.
Aaron Montgomery.
Aaron Montgomery.
Keep on listening.
I don't know if these guys are that regular.
Nice. Right. It always seems to change up on us.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show, everyone. It's Friday, June 1st, 2018. I'm Terry Combs with Equipment Zone, and you can also find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me at aaronmontgomery.info. After Terry and Eric interviewed me last week, today it's my turn to interview Terry about the top 10 niche markets specifically for DTG printing. We won't be seeing poor Eric. He's a little under the weather, but he helped get us to this point. So still an active participant. We haven't run him off yet, Terry.
Exactly. He's coming back more until today, so who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Eric, if you're listening, I hope you feel better. Yeah,
definitely. Our good thoughts heading out to you. But Terry, how about some news items before we dive in here?
Yeah, Aaron, one that we've mentioned on the show before, but I always think it's kind of a cool deal, is Stalls has continued its annual participation in the NFL draft with behind-the-scenes and on-demand decoration. So anybody who's ever watched the NFL draft, when the surprise pick at number one for whatever team comes up, and while the person's walking down the aisle, somebody's walking from the back with a jersey with that, for the Cleveland Browns with that person's name on the back at a number one. That's because the folks at Stalls are backstage making those shirts as the names are being called, which is pretty cool. So the 2018 draft marked the 7th year the company has provided the service for the league. And it took place on April 26th through 28th at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And pretty cool deal. It's only a few hours on site, but months of preparation, says Josh Ellsworth, who's Vice President of Sales, dealer channels, because of all the variables involved in the process. But great. It's great TV, and it's a great promotion for the industry as well. So good job for those guys over at Stalls for 7 straight years.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm sure most people have watched the NFL draft. It's fairly so if you're not into the football, just watch it for the decoration. That's pretty cool.
Right. Like you do every day in your life. Hey, see that shirt? Hey, where'd you get that?
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Do you mind if I check the tag in your shirt?
I just want to feel the print. It's really not me being creepy. We've all done that. I know it.
Exactly.
All right, Terry. Well, one thing I saw was FESPA. The winners of the FESPA 2018 awards were announced at its annual gala dinner, which took place at the Classic Remise in Berlin on Wednesday, the 16th of May, during FESPA's Global Print Expo 2018. So we'll have a link in the show notes to where you can go check out who all the winners were there. It was a international group, and nobody that stood out to me that I recognized from here in the States, but some good names and some good stuff going on over there. So I think it helps everybody, even if you're not in Europe and doing any decorating in Europe, kind of see a bigger picture and learn more and understand, what's hot, and hopefully that helps your business.
Exactly. Aaron, I attended the FESPA Awards dinner in Berlin, not this past one, but gosh, it was roughly 10 years ago. And it was a very, very cool event, lots of entertainment, and the folks at FESPA. And if anybody doesn't know, FESPA is the largest garment product decorating show in the world. And it's every 3 years. It's a European show, and they also do one in India. But if you want to commit about 4 days of walking time, you should look at Indie FESPA at some point.
Yeah. They are massive. All right. Well, Terry, I'm going to be bringing 5 things to you today. You've held down that spot for a while, and I figured it was my turn to help you out there and bring you 5 things. So I'm going to talk about 5 things you must master to be a successful business owner. So that should be good information there. I hope that everybody enjoys.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate everybody listening. We are so pleased to bring this weekly show to you since February 2013. So it's June, Aaron, so we're well into our 6th season.
Wow.
I know, crazy, huh? We always try to avoid those rants and lectures, but we would love to hear you guys from you guys, and you can go to our website, 2 regularguys.com. Check out the show notes from this show and all of our previous shows. Every time somebody says, hey, go to my website, or here's a great site to go to, it's always on our website. So those links will be up there right away. We're always looking for suggestions for future shows. So you can go to the website, 2regularguys.com, and go to the Contact Us page, or we're all over social media, and that's the number 2 Regular Guys. If you're watching us live right now, we would love to hear your comments, your insights, questions, suggestions. So throw them out there, and we'll try to answer whatever questions you guys raise, or more importantly, whatever additions or comments you want to add to the show as well. So, Aaron, before we dig in, though, we want to say thanks to our title sponsor, which is SGIA. You can head over to the website, that's Specialty Graphic Imaging Association. The website's sgia.org/join if you'd like to become a member of that organization.
Absolutely. And I've got a call scheduled with them today to see what they've got going on and what's upcoming. So stay tuned. Next week, we should have some great information for you. And, their website's a great resource. So like I said, get over there. And if you're not a member, sign up today. I've got their website up on the live show right now, Terry. So people can just see real quick.
Very good.
All right. And speaking of comments, we've already had a few people popping in. And so we'll pop those up real quick. Jeanette said hello. Our friend of the show, who's been on the show with us recently, Jay Bissell, said sweet and sassy, Terry and Aaron. So which one are you, Terry? Are you sweet or are you sassy?
I gotta say sweet, don't you?
That makes me sassy. Yeah.
But I'm drinking unsweetened coffee right now, and this is for anybody to guess where I am as we speak. At the Dunkin' Donuts with the New York Yankees logo on it.
Nice. Good stuff. Let's see what other comments we got here, Terry. Steve Healy says hello, joining us. Steve, thanks for checking us out. Again, Jay Bissell, and my
dog says, hey.
Dog says hello too. So I think it was the tacos, Jay. My new niche is tacos. So there we go. All right, Terry. Well, I'm looking forward to interviewing you today, and with your list of top 10 DTG markets for DTG Decorators. That's easy to say. So let's dive into this, Terry. You got a great list here.
Well, before we start, let me say that this is a list that we put together just from this isn't scientific. This isn't like the folks over at ASI where they survey 10,000 people. This is from conversations that you and I and a few other folks have had with decorators, on the phone, at trade shows, at events, and actually Jay, who's listening to the show, inspired this because he actually asked me to put together a top 10 list of niche markets, and that's for use at the DTG Academy that's going on at Equipment Zone in New Jersey this weekend, and that's why I'm drinking coffee with the New York Yankees logo on it because I'm actually sitting at Equipment Zone, and one of the sales folks here was nice enough to vacate their office so that I could sit here and do the show today. So.
Nice. So you don't have New York Yankees logos on your Dunkin' Cups in Scottsdale, Arizona?
I do not. Not that I'm aware of, although there are enough New Yorkers there that it would probably be okay. That Minnesota Vikings, the Chicago Bears,
yeah,
quite a few Cubbies, So
the implants there in Phoenix.
Exactly.
I remember when I lived there, it was always unique that I was actually from there. So that was
exactly. Yeah,
all right.
Somebody tells me they're from Phoenix, I'm like, oh, you're one of the 3 people that actually was born and grew up here.
Yeah. Now that Phoenix has been around a little bit longer, it's not as unique. But when I was a kid,
Right.
boy, I definitely most people were implants for sure. So, All right, Terry. Well, let's dive into this. What's the number one DTG market that people can be looking at here?
I'm going to say probably not in any particular order as a top 10, but
Okay.
This first one is what I call events of a lifetime, and that's for folks who are doing a couple of examples. And by the way, most of these things we've talked about on the show before because they are the top 10. But whale watching, the folks up in Nova Scotia that have a direct-to-garment printer, that they're in a community where the folks will go out and see the whales, take pictures, come back, and it's actually an ice cream shop. And they used to sell you a $5 chocolate sundae, and while you sat there eating it, you're sitting there going through your phone and going through your camera, looking at all these awesome pictures, because what was it? An event of a lifetime. And so this particular couple, they bought a direct-to-garment printer and created a template in Photoshop, and they can grab those pictures, drop it into Photoshop in seconds, and print it on a white shirt. And by the time the folks are bussing their own table, they walk up to the counter and get their T-shirt for $20-$25 and take it home with them. And then of course, you can always call and get more of those shirts as well. So that's on the East Coast. On the West Coast, I know a gentleman who does. He has 6 deep sea fishing boats, and when you reel in that big catch, what he does is the captain of that particular boat will take a picture and email it back to shore. And when you're walking back onto the dock, there you are catching, bringing in that big fish. And do you think you're going to buy that shirt? I think you are,
Absolutely. What about if you get sick and you're chumming, so to speak? You think you could get a shirt with that made as well?
You probably could.
That was my deep sea fishing experience. Rolling waves and the diesel engine made it so I was fairly green in color.
Well, my experience like that predates direct-to-garment printing, but would have been a great. I do have some great pictures of it. But when I was in college working at Cedar Point, BF Goodrich, they make those slides that come out of airplanes. So when the door opens and it's a water landing, the slides shoot out of the plane. And I worked, I was up on Lake Erie, so they hired 40 of us college students to go out on this barge, and it had airplane sides built on it. And they would open the door, and the slide would shoot out, and we'd all slide in and disconnect it and float away, and then paddle back, and they'd hook it up and fire another one. And the problem was they anchored it out on a point of Lake Erie, and then they drove boats around it all day to stir up the water. And this thing was rocking. It was going up and down, probably 8 feet down to the water, and then 16 feet up all day. And to the point where it would dip and your feet would get wet if you're standing close to the edge. It was that much of a dip, and it was rough going all morning. And then they were bringing lunch out, and as people could see the boxes of Kentucky Fried Chicken, they ran to the other rail, and that was the end of that. So I didn't get a T-shirt, but it would have fit that category. And let me add another thing that I thought was kind of neat. Wade Rowan, who works for Equipment Zone, he's a technician, and while he was there, and they, of course, before they could do the training, had to go out on the boat. He got this idea and came back and created a graphic of a porthole in the side of a boat. And so what he suggested was everybody that comes in to check in, have them go outside the window here and smash their face up against the window, and you take a picture of them. And it's the most popular item they do. And what they do is they drop that picture in, and it looks like you with your face up against the glass in a porthole. So I thought that was a really awesome idea, and kudos to Wade for thinking of that as an added product to sell in a really specific niche market.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. It reminded me of recently my family had a little short vacation over in Branson, Missouri, and we did the duck boat tour ride, and you're out there standing in line waiting to get on your duck boat, and as soon as they're ready to load you up, it takes a little bit to get on the boats because they parade you in front of this green screen, and that's got a little steering wheel kind of thing in front of it, and you got to take a picture with your family, and they have those pictures ready for you when you get back from the tour, and you can buy, we bought the pictures and stuff. And the whole time I'm just thinking, if they had a direct to garment printer back there or a sublimation printer back there, because all we got were these paper things that they stuck into a overpriced sleeve. And it was like, they're like, oh, we've got this great package. And I'm like, we'll just take the one photo, and then I'll take the photo and and sublimate it onto cool stuff instead of just this paper photo, And same thing happened when we were riding the mountain coasters. As you're coming down, you're like, and they take a picture of you, but the same deal. All they had back there was just a little paper printer instead of being able to. It doesn't take much more, and just think of what you can charge for stuff like that. I mean, they were charging an arm and a leg for the paper prints. So I think there's a big market to be had there. And, like events of a lifetime, just memories that you want to have with your family.
Yeah. And people want to remember that. So
yeah, totally.
You guys take advantage of that.
Definitely. All right, Terry. Well, that's number one. So are you ready for number two?
This kind of reminds me of a seminar I did, Aaron, where I did 52 niche markets in 52 minutes, and you chuckled then too. I'm starting to think that here already, but service providers is my number two. That means lawn cares, window washers, movers, all those folks that are the example that you always laugh at me about when I talk about it in screen printing is Jim's towing service, because these folks come back and come back and come back and come back and buy products. So the beauty of it is you don't sell them a product. What you're selling them is you're the warehouse, and when you need it's coming into fall, so all my lawn care folks need sweatshirts now. You're ready to provide those in whatever quantity they want. Hey, we just lost an employee. We hired a new person. I need a set of extra large. Boom. The next day you have them there for them. And that could be an entire business, just providing for all these folks who go out and work, ruin the clothing that they wear, and need replacements. And all of these folks do not want to be warehousing T-shirts. They want to be worried about doing window washing or whatever it is we do, and they will pay a premium not to have to inventory 200 mediums and 200 larges and 200 extra larges of whatever product it is that you're providing. So yeah, I love that marketplace.
Yeah, it's a great market, and like I said, you've talked about it in the screen printing realm, and I think it's interesting. I always joke with you about how, I need to find Jim's towing service. I can have my business going in no time because that guy buys a ton of shirts. But think about the fact that, people are out there doing some of these things, and how are you going to set yourself apart? What's your, as Jay said, what's your unique value? And if you're a DTG printer or you have the ability to do digital on-demand kind of stuff, boy, you do have a pretty unique value there, because Jim's towing service is no longer a one color or a two color. Right. It now becomes a full color, a picture of his tow truck that's actually a picture of his tow truck, and so I think there, think about those things as you set yourself apart in these niche markets. And
add to that, a breathable garment for most of these folks are working outside and so 100% cotton, and 100% cotton is your best friend when you're a direct to garment printer. Yep. So it really makes it ideal.
Totally. Yeah, that's good stuff. Okay. All right. And I guess the other thing, Terry, to note is, when you talk about 100% cotton and outside, but you probably don't want to be selling them white shirts either, because if they're working outside, that white shirt will last for about, 10 seconds before It looks like it should not be the face of your company.
Let me rephrase that. I want to sell that white shirt. They're going to ruin in 10 seconds. They may not want to buy that white shirt.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. But if you sold them, I don't know, a dark green shirt that's going to hide some of that dirt, and they're going to,
or a taupe or something like that, that won't show the dirt as much as well. Yeah.
Yeah. They'll ruin their shirts on their own. Don't worry about that. I know landscape people, boy, they work hard. So,
and,
all right, Terry.
And back home in Phoenix, there's plenty of things to rip and tear at your clothing when you're outside landscaping.
Yes, cactus. For those of you that aren't aware of what goes on out there in Phoenix, it's. All right, Terry. So that's 2, I believe. Yeah, 2. So what's number 3?
Okay, as I speed up,
we're doing okay. I think we'll be all right.
Okay, bars, taverns, and restaurants is a category as well, and that category is really twofold. One is staff garments, and obviously a lot of folks who work in bars and taverns and restaurants, it's part-time work. So, hey, your favorite breakfast place where Emma has been your waitress for the last 20 years, that's not really that common. It's more a lot of folks who are doing transition jobs, summer work. I'm doing this job while I'm finishing school, that sort of thing. So, there's some turnover in the garments they wear, and much like in the other service industries, the garments get spoiled and a lot of laundering, So beyond that, though, is I think the smart entrepreneur is going into these folks saying, hey, St. Patrick's Day is around the corner. How about if everybody, your entire staff has St. Patrick's shirts, and here's 5 designs that you might want to choose from. And if they say, yeah, let's do this one, well, you take that one out, and then the next bar, tavern, or restaurant you go into, say, hey, here's 4 designs, or add one that you didn't have in there. Here's 5 designs to choose from. And once that pattern starts, they're going to do 4th of July shirts, and they're going to do New Year's Eve shirts and whatever different types of things. And that's just more opportunity for you to sell. The other side of it is, and I learned this terminology just a couple of months ago, a destination bar or destination tavern, and meaning that somebody wants to identify with it. And I remember, about 4 years ago, I was in New York City, and a friend of mine from the industry said, hey, the first Coyote Ugly is in New York City. Let's go. And so we did. And needless to say, I was having chili dogs on Times Square at 5 a.m. after that. But but did we get a shirt while we were there? We did, because it's a destination location that you want to say, hey, yeah, the original one from the movie, I was there. And by the way, it's a dump. But but you still have to get the shirt. So some folks, and you walk into a restaurant, and they've got some shirts up on the wall, and they're all dusty, and they're all one color, and just it's just sad. So
and you see that the prices crossed out. They start at $30, and now they're down to $5, and
you're never buying another shirt. But if you take them something that really jumps off the shirt, and with direct-to-garment sublimation into these decoration methods, there's no limit to colors or trying different things, because you could try one. So that's I think that's a good marketplace. And those folks, for the most part, buy small quantities. They want to buy 5, they want to buy 12, they want to buy 20, and so it's a perfect marketplace for this type of decoration.
Totally. Okay. Well, Terry, we've got some great folks just saying hi and good morning. So I want to recognize everybody here as we go along. We've got Jan Peterson Callahan joining us. Sorry, excuse me. And Dan Campbell is said hello, fellas. So that's good morning, everybody. And feel free to jump in with your thoughts, ideas. Just we just talked about bars and taverns. So anybody have any cool, unique ideas that you'd love to share about, bars and taverns as a marketplace?
I personally have about 10,000 stories about bars and taverns. If you'd like me to relate
related to decorating garments.
Oh no. Well, I was talking to another guy, so I guess that was really
yeah. We definitely have plenty of bar stories, but I don't think it's going to bring any value to the decorators,
all right.
other than laughing at us and our silliness over the years. So
antics, yeah.
Antics, yeah. We're just two regular guys, Terry. All right. All right. Jan says, "Hey, me too." There.
Indeed.
All right, so that was 1, 2, 3
occasions.
Nice.
3? Oh my goodness! All right,
number 4.
Okay, number 4: parties and corporate events, and this is primarily talking about on-site custom printing, and as I've mentioned on the show before, Aaron, it's kind of an East Coast phenomenon that I've seen, where I've talked to at least 3 companies that go to. They'll go to a corporate Christmas party. They'll go to a birthday event. They'll go to a bar mitzvah. And as people are walking in, they take a picture, maybe in front of some kind of decorative scene, or maybe in front of a green screen that you drop in a background that is pertinent to the theme of the party, and get your shirt size. And as you're walking out, you pick up your shirt and take it with you. And for the corporate events, what folks tell me is they'll say, okay, well, exactly how many people will be at the party? 100 people? Okay, that's going to be $1,500. So the corporation writes you a check for $1,500 and hands it to you. Then you show up at the event and do the shirts. Yeah. And so it's really an interesting type of business that you have to have a direct-to-garment printer that you can take on the road. Not all of them can you. Most of them you can do that with. Yeah. But I think it's really kind of a neat idea. Maybe it's almost like having a business where you do parties, like the old Tupperware parties and things like that, so that your work really could be Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, or that sort of thing, or evenings. And so a great way to do a part-time business, but also have a guaranteed number of pieces that you're selling at an event. It's not like showing up at an event and hoping somebody buys a shirt. They already bought the shirt. So I really love the concept of it, and I think it's going to roll right across the country. And of course, we have lots of international listeners. So this is a tip for you as well, that this might be a really great way to certainly kick off your business, because it's again, guaranteed sales. All you have to do is make sure you have plenty of inventory of shirts, and my recommendation is do light color shirts, so you can just crank them out, and if an event's 2 hours long, when that 2 hours is up, all those shirts they're bagged, and guess what's in the bag? Your business card, maybe. Hey, if you're having an event here, contact XYZ company. Yeah. And a great opportunity to promote yourself as well. So
yeah,
I really
definitely
like that idea.
Definitely. Yeah. Jan chimed in and said, I think taking the DTG on the road for local sports events, et cetera, is brilliant. And then she added, I met a woman who had two and only did wrestling events, worked 2 to 3 weekends a month and killed it. So yeah. Definitely lots there. I actually am familiar with a company. I think they're in, if I remember right, it's been a little bit, but I think they're in Chicago area, and they actually do events and parties that mainly geared towards kids, but they actually have their own location. It's kind of like people come and have birthday parties there, but it's all about art and drawing, and the kids, draw stuff, and, by the end of the party, all the kids are walking out with their own shirts that they drew in advance, that they drew the artwork for. So they kind of say, okay, color this, and they all get together and do it. And then, they come back and okay, now go play on the bounce houses and stuff like that. And while they're doing that, they're getting in there and they're printing all the shirts and away they go. So,
well, and hopefully that shirt, when they put it, because they're going to put it on over whatever they're wearing when they walk out the door. And hopefully right there on the left sleeve is your logo and phone number. And hey, if you have a corporate event or if you have a birthday party kind of thing, message right there on the sleeve of all the shirts. So,
yeah, definitely.
Always be promoting, always be marketing. All right, Jay, I know Jay's listening.
All right. Hey, one other comment I want to share here, Terry, and it's probably going to cover us all up because it's nice and long. So I'll pop it up there real quick and then read it real quick. It's from Dan Campbell. He said the greatest thing for an artist that has a DTG is to be able to talk with a potential customer and the discussion and leave, but take photos, then edit and add type, print to a T, and 30 minutes later you walk into the customer's location and show them what can be done. It's almost guaranteed
Perfect.
Sales for a small order. On-site customization, is key. So thought that was a really good feedback that I wanted to share. All right.
That's excellent. And he's exactly right. And you know, we didn't say this at the top of the show, Aaron. I know we've been preaching it a lot of late, but digital decoration in whatever form you want to use is the future. And again, it's not going to get rid of other decoration methods, but if you're not doing it, you're going to be left behind. So
yeah, totally.
According to our good friend Mark Coudray. So.
Yep. Okay, Terry, I was just counting to see how many we've gotten through and then looking at the clock, and I think we're okay, but
we're doing good.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we threw 4. So
once 6 years ago when we decided that, hey, a 30-minute show, I guess, isn't long enough.
Yeah, I guess at what point are we going to go, well, an hour is not quite long enough. We love to go into bonus time anyhow. So
then we have to weigh, okay, we like to talk. How many people want to listen for how long?
Yeah, exactly. I think we found a nice sweet spot here, Terry. So let's keep it going. All right. So number 5 for us, please.
Dance, cheer, and gymnastics events. And this includes like cheer teams, dance teams, events where they are participating, competitions. And I know I've talked about this in the past as a screen printer, but these competitions that you go to, and anybody who has a child or a grandchild who's in dance or cheer and gymnastics, there's tumbling, there's other related types of events. But this is something that families make an investment of money, investment of time. The kids make huge investments of their time to do something like this. My daughters, when they were doing dance, they would have dance practice 4 nights a week and half a day on Saturday. Wow. And 4 nights a week, we're talking 2 or 3 hours a night. So doing homework in the car on the way to the dance studio, and doing homework on breaks, and then you had your one night off, and then you're right back at it for 4 or 5 hours on Saturday. Now, not everybody goes to that extent, but you'd be surprised how many folks have those types of commitments to all these types of things, and they take a lot of pride in it. So if you're on a dance team, you want to identify with that, and it's a perfect marketplace. And if you can do some add-on things like the bags for all your shoes and leotards and all the things that you're taking along, and if you can add some value added to it, like rhinestones and bling, and it's the perfect marketplace for that sort of thing as well. But Aaron, I never went to a dance event where my daughters didn't come home with, of course you have to get a new leotard, of course you have to get the event shirt. Of course, hey, I need a new bag, because you certainly don't have enough bags stacked up in your closet. Okay. But all the other girls got the bag. Okay, yeah. Well, let's get the bag.
Let's get the bag. And the leotards were for your girls, right? Not you.
They're for the girls. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify for everybody that was wondering, and make sure. All right, sorry, I couldn't help myself. So,
but. I've spent many of hours sitting watching basketball and things like that on my phone in the lobby while my daughters were practicing, and so we're finally done. We're finally done with that. So
Nice. Well, I mean, one of the interesting points you made there, Terry, is the fact that there's such a commitment, and then because of that commitment, you really identify with that.
Right.
And it made me think of something that you always say that I think is of good value for folks, is that people are willing to pay for what they're passionate about.
Exactly.
And that's your line, and I will steal it after this, but I'm giving you credit today.
This is the one time I get credit for.
Good stuff.
Aaron, my daughter Riley, my youngest daughter, she changed schools in middle school, and the reason she did was because we lived in Fountain Hills, Arizona. She was in dance in Scottsdale. The dance studio was about 25 minutes into Scottsdale, and she changed schools because she said, Mom and Dad, all my friends are from dance. I spend every evening with them. I spend every Saturday with them, and so I want to go to school with them too. And so she moved to Mountainside Middle School. And the next year she's going to graduate from Desert Mountain High School right next door, just because of that commitment to all those folks. So it's if you're not participating in something like this right now with your kids or grandkids, it's hard to fathom what goes on with it. But it's a really awesome marketplace, and I would recommend this to somebody whose kids are participating in this, because again, make your business something that you're interested in and something you have really good knowledge of, because the key to a niche market, and again, repeating this, is know everything there is to know about that market and own that market. Yeah. So if you've got kids in this, that pretty much all you have to buy is small and extra small, for instance.
Exactly.
No range of sizes there.
Yeah, and no dads are actually buying that leotard, despite what I say. But
for leotards, let me.
Got it. All right. Well, that's number 4, I believe. Was that 4? 1, 2? No, that's 5.
Oh, look at us. All right.
Now, so we're on. This is what's messing me up. So you've got a bonus in here. I'm cheating and reading ahead here, but
did I do 11?
It looks like 11 to me. I'm not a very good mathematician, but anyhow, let's.
This is such a good topic. We're going to crank it to 11.
Yeah, turn it all the way up. All right. Well, so what's number 6?
Okay, number 6 is car enthusiasts, and that's car shows, car clubs, setting up at the racetrack. A huge marketplace where people want to identify. And we've talked about on the show here before about folks who go to car shows, take pictures of the cool cars, go back to your tent where you're set up. You have a template set up for that event. Drop a picture of that car in there. Walk back and hold that shirt up in front of the guy who owns that car. You think he's going to buy that shirt? I think he is. I think the first question is how much. And Aaron, you and I both talked to a gentleman who does these on a large scale, really big time car shows, and he charges $40 for the shirt. And why is somebody going to pay $40? Because that's what they're passionate about. Yeah. So, and there are car clubs and car enthusiasts are a unique group, and I would even include motorcycles in this as well, for folks that would love to have their particular bike. And here's a little inside tip. Go to the Harley dealer that's closest to you. And one of the deals I know a gentleman who's a Harley salesman, and he has to take a picture of that person on his Harley and send it to him after the event. And when he makes his 2-week call and say, hey, how much do you love your bike? Well, all you have to do is say, send me that picture and tell me if this is an extra large or a double extra large or a triple extra large, and let me put that person on his bike or her bike on a black T-shirt or a tank top or whatever, and they would be all over that, because that's a very expensive bike and a bike that everybody wants to identify with. And guess what? You're also not getting involved in trademark infringement with Harley Davidson, because all you're doing is providing somebody a shirt with them on their personal motorcycle. And so, again, that's a business where all it is an email that says, here's the person's address, here's their size, here's their picture. And you combine those things, and yet I'll have it out to your customer tomorrow, and here's the bill for $40, and they'd be all over it, and the Porsche dealer or whoever, maybe it's the Chevy dealer, I think I think the Car Enthusiast is, again, another place where I'm passionate about this, so totally. I want to own that.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting, Terry. As being, in sales myself for some time and doing some of that. Yeah, all I could do was just start thinking about how this package could come together. I mean, you said Chevy, Chevy, at least the ads I'm seeing right now, their big thing is pushing, how would you feel about your first real truck?
Yeah.
And there's a perfect opportunity, that person buys that truck, they get that picture, and the salesman, like you said, they want to have that word of mouth, and all of that. So they're going to go, nice little package with the shirt, got the picture of the customer and the truck on the front, on the back is the logo of the dealership, and and all that kind of stuff. And man, I think that's a perfect follow-up package that they can send out, they get. And yeah, that guy's going to say, hey, I bought my truck from Terry over here and he was awesome, and I got this shirt from him, and that's perfect.
And you know what? No amount of discount that you offered, no emails that you followed up with, how much did you love this product? They will always remember getting that shirt. And so when somebody goes, hey, where did you buy your car? You know what? There's this coolest dealership, and I got this shirt. Here's my example. Years ago, back when VCRs were brand new, and now I'm really, really dating myself. I came into work one day, and VCRs were really expensive when they first came out. There's a box sitting on my desk with a brand new VCR. And I walked in, and I'm like, what's this? And the owner of the company walked in and said, hey, I just wanted to let you know you're doing a really great job. And I couldn't tell you how much I got in this bonus or that bonus or whatever reward I might have received or promotion. But I never forgot that box, surprisingly, sitting there on my desk, and a little bonus for, hey, you're doing a really good job. So yeah. I think it's the same kind of thing. You'll always remember getting that T-shirt from that dealership.
Yeah. That dealership can easily cover, your $20 for a T-shirt, and take it a little bit further. You make the package for them, so
sure.
So it's not just a T-shirt; it's bagged. You've got some literature of theirs that you go, and you even can fulfill it and send it out for them. Sure. All they've got to do is send you a picture and an address, and so that $20 T-shirt is now a $40 package. And your costs don't rise that much by adding a little bit of their flyers and wrapping and a little shipping. So
exactly right.
Yeah. All right. So that's number 6.
Yeah.
Now we're on to number 7.
Well, I know this one's one after your own heart, Aaron. I know you talked a lot about realtors and promotional products. So realtors is my category, my next category, and the thing about realtors is not only is it that new home gift, where a lot of times it's a bottle of wine or whatever, but if it's something personalized, you go the step further. But also realtors are always sponsoring things. And I mentioned I lived in Fountain Hills. I live in Scottsdale now in Arizona, but Fountain Hills, Arizona, they have a really cool fountain, obviously, and a big park around it. And in the winter, everybody else in the world, this would be in the summer, but in the winter time, they'll have a big screen set up at the they've kind of like this amphitheater almost, and it's part of it's concrete, but part of it's grass, and they'll show movies, and they're just it's some old movie, but it's just kind of an event to get people together. But I always notice it's always sponsored by one of the local realtors. They do all kinds of things like that. And so as the people are running around, making sure everything is getting done properly, welcoming people and directing them towards the porta potties, they could be wearing shirts that have the name of that realtor on it. But Aaron, I'm sure you have some comments about realtors as well.
Well, realtors is definitely one of those things, like I said, that, and it actually fits nicely with what we were talking about as the follow-up sale. Realtors, like people selling high-end cars, that word of mouth, that setting themselves apart, that remembering, who I bought my house from, how was that experience? And if you had, a nice shirt or something nice that kind of reminds you of that, like you said, it goes a lot further than any discount you could give or anything like that. I think there's just a ton of opportunities to add value. And, I think the key to all this is coming in and, a realtor sells real estate. They don't make promotional products. They don't make shirts. So you need to go in there and you need to be the expert and you need to take care of it all for them. So, you don't need to require that they have, a certain kind of art or certain kind of picture or anything like that. Right. You've got to be able to take care of that. You just make it as easy as possible for them, take out as many steps for them, take out as many pain points for them. And then, and then what you charge really doesn't matter, so I think there's some really good things that go along there. Realtors are just such a great opportunity in my world of sublimation that, there's so many other products you can provide too. The shirts are great. And I think, a shirt in front of your house, maybe it's a nicer shirt, a higher end shirt or something like that, is great. But, think about different stuff. In fact, Jan Callahan, it said, I agree, added value to a sale. I bought my sublimation printer just to make mugs to give to customers as a self promo. It built my business. So,
or how about, you take that picture of the family in front of the house but the kids' shirts say, my mom and dad bought their house from, and the picture, and then the name of the realtor.
That's a great idea.
There's so many different things you could do.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, Terry, one other quick shout out for the comments. Becky Todd said hello. So welcome in, Becky. Thanks for joining us. And again, thanks to everybody for all the great comments. This has been, Terry and I talk about this stuff a lot. I may have heard these stories once or twice myself. And
I've heard every story I have once or twice here.
But the cool part is, Terry, that I love about when we have these conversations is, we'll say it just a little bit differently, and it just makes the brain start thinking. I mean, we've come up with all sorts of new ideas. Maybe we should become decorators, Terry. Let's just go to a island somewhere and
become garment decorators. Is the UPS boat to come by once a week.
Nice. It's really cool and so my point being, I appreciate all the comments that people are making as well. It just keeps that thought process going. And this is stuff that you and I love to do, Terry. So I'm excited. All right. So two things here, Terry. First and foremost, I can't count. So we're good there. We're going to do 10. I went through and actually numbered the list and dang, how did I miss that badly? But so that's number one. Number two, what is number 8?
Number 8 is schools. And this includes booster clubs, school stores, teams, maybe practice shirts to wear under your football uniforms or volleyball practice uniforms or class shirts. And class shirts, a lot of schools, it's just a senior class. But at my daughter's high school, my youngest daughter, she goes to Desert Mountain High School in Scottsdale. Each class has their own shirt color, and that travels with them through the years, and so schools are a huge opportunity, and I couldn't tell you how many decorators I know that this is all they do, yeah. And let me tell you, here's one of the secrets of selling to schools. Always get a purchase order, no matter how much this teacher says that, hey, I'm in charge of this club, and hey, I'll take care of the purchase order. But if you could go ahead and print the shirts, because that teacher is, as a purchaser, is a really good teacher. But
really good teacher, yes.
Because bookkeepers in elementaries and middle and high schools hate dealing with after the fact orders. And I promise you, you will be the last person who gets a check written on the last day of school if you circumvent the rules.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But it's unlimited the number of things that you can do with this. And I mentioned I think a couple of months ago. Oh gosh, it was probably actually in the fall. But my daughter, my youngest daughter in high school, they have something called the Wolf Den because they're the wolves, and so these shirts that they wear to the football games. They place orders for them when they register for classes, and then the shirts show up. And my daughter went to pick hers up, and it's just a mob and people pointing. What size did you get? Oh, a small. Okay, hold on. And they take a shirt and they throw it over. And I thought, man, this is what I mentioned on the show.
Yeah.
That is a customer waiting to be stolen away, because what a real decorator is going to do is have that shirt in a bag with a name on it and the size and in boxes in alphabetical order, and boom, 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 it's done. And oh, by the way, in there is also your card and your phone number and all that sort of thing as well. So like many of the things that we talk about here, if not all of the things, the easier you make it for the customer, the easier it's going to be for you to get the order. It's not about the price. It's about how easy is it for me to do this, because at the Booster Club, the person in charge of T-shirts is usually the person who got to the meeting last. Oh, we already passed out all the jobs. The only one we have left is buying T-shirts. So you got it.
Yeah, exactly. So as easy as you can make it for them and as good as you can make them look, that's going to be.
Exactly. That's an excellent point.
Yeah. So Terry, as you were talking about schools, I just got back from a trip to Arizona myself not too long ago, where I think I mentioned this on a show, where my son graduated from high school, and there were 700 kids in his class. And we were at University of Phoenix Stadium, where the Arizona Cardinals play football. And there was actually 4 high schools that had their graduation there that day. There's 4 high schools in their school district. And so the school district rents out the stadium. And so each school had a 2-hour block. And so you just like kind of in and out and circling these schools in. And anyhow, the point of the story, though, is that there was so much personalization out in the audience. A bunch of people had shirts with a picture. I'll post this. My brother's my brother's daughter graduated high school this year too, and he had a shirt on, so he was taking pictures with her, and then he took off his overshirt and had a T-shirt on underneath it that was just a picture of her, her nickname from when she was a baby, embarrass her, but it was really a special moment.
Perfect.
And my brother tells me after the fact that he paid $30 for that shirt, and it was a white shirt. And it was direct to garment printed. He got it in one day. He went somewhere and got it in one day. And, they cropped out the background of the picture. But he's like, yeah, I did most of it. And I paid $30 for this shirt. And I'm like, yeah, you should have called me. But anyways, you don't know that this is what I do.
About me.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I know it's been years since we've talked, apparently. But anyhow, the point being is, man, there's some opportunities there. Getting in front of those folks, it might be a little bit of a challenge because it is such a scattered deal. But boy, if you start trying to kind of maybe through Facebook or something like that, really start looking towards graduating high school Facebook groups, stuff like that, and say, hey, I can make that, custom shirt that says congratulations, so-and-so class of 2018, and, next year, 2019. It was incredible, so, and then everybody had their big pictures, that were printed, or banners that were printed. There was so much personalization going on at these things. I was like, holy crap, this is a huge market just right here. And you don't only have to work 1 month a year.
Yeah. Well, and look in the fall, football moms, and
yeah,
with a picture of your kid in his football uniform. Yeah.
Totally.
Great market.
All right. Well, let's man, we're gonna get to bonus time after all, Terry. We did it. Good job. Number 9.
All right, number 9 is family reunions, and a huge marketplace. And I'm going to include in here, Aaron, the Rest in Peace shirts, becoming much more popular here in the U.S. Internationally. The Rest in Peace T-shirt has been very popular. Places like South Africa for years and years and years, but getting super popular here in the States now. And my Uber ride from Newark Airport to my hotel here in in Franklin Lakes was the driver had a hat on, and it said R.I.P. and had some relative's name and their dates right on the side of his hat. And I thought, wow, what a perfect example for the show that we're getting ready to do here in a couple of days. So
yeah.
Now, and family reunion. So the folks who screen print that sort of thing hate to deal with family reunions, and the reason is it's little Susie's a 2-4, and Uncle Bob. Everybody knows Uncle Bob. He's a 4X, and I don't want to pay for extra screens, and I don't want to pay for this. I don't pay for that. A family reunion is perfect for digital decorating, and here's my warning though. If you don't like trees, don't get into this business, because every customer walks in your door and says, I have the coolest idea ever for a family reunion shirt. I want our family name across the top, and then I want this tree and have all these different names all around the tree. Could you do that for me? And if this is your business, you go, okay, well, here I have a choice of 120 trees that you can choose from to do this. But it's really,
like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's do that.
Well, and you know what? It's also one of those repeat marketplaces, because if they're having a family reunion this year, they're having one next year and the year after and the year after, and they'll just keep coming back to you for shirts. And so as you build families, you're growing your marketplace year after year.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. In fact, my wife and I were just talking. My mom has a family reunion every year up in Indiana, and she's going to come out to St. Louis first, and we're going to drive up there with her and go. We've been a couple times, but not many times. And it was so funny. We were talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know how often they have that. My wife's like, they have it every year. I'm like, oh, I guess we only go every so often. But I'm like, oh, okay, well, they have it every year. And then you tie this into shirts. They probably need shirts, because I didn't realize all those people were my family.
So everybody here in a yellow shirt's related to me? Is that
okay? Now I know. This is great. For the slower family members, me, you need to color coordinate the shirts. So, hey Terry, before we get to number 10 here, Marshall had mentioned the key is to develop a business and marketing plan that focuses on solving customer problems. Dial it in, understand how your market buys, where they're handing out, what do they want. Don't wait, do it early. So good tip there from Marshall Atkinson. Absolutely. And thanks for joining us and sharing, Marshall. Terry, number 10.
Number 10 is military, and military encompasses active duty, ROTC on campuses, ROTC in high schools, veterans groups. This is a huge marketplace. I was talking to someone just yesterday, and they were telling me about a direct-to-garment company that they were familiar with, and he said all they print for are United States Marine groups. That's their entire market, and if you're not involved in that marketplace, you'd think, well, gosh, how could that be? But here's another example. My son-in-law is a naval officer, and when he was in officer candidate school, one of the jobs he had was get the company T-shirts, and so he had to go out and order T-shirts for everybody in his specific group in officer candidate school, and every single class that comes through, somebody gets T-shirts for that group. And I know another company by 29 Palms in Arizona or California, where there's a Marine base there, and they basically print for all the different individual groups within the Marine Corps there. And back up to the high schools. hey, there are 200 kids in the band. Well, that's a screen print job. Well, yeah, it is, except for the trombones. They want to have something about trombones on theirs, and the clarinets, they want clarinets on theirs. And it's the same with military.
Yeah.
Within the Marines, there's this group and there's this group and this group, and they all want shirts. And add to that veterans groups, and you have a huge marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely a huge marketplace. I'm more involved in sublimation right now, so I see a lot more of that. Just did a project for a veterans group called Coder Vets, and they wanted mugs. The personalization part is, so Coder Vets is kind of this veterans group that are veterans that are interested in coding, computer coding and things like that, and they're kind of a club, but they also help these veterans grow new skills so they can get new employment. And they were able to place a bunch of their veterans in with MasterCard, who's got a big office here in St. Louis. And so it said Coder Vets, and their little Coder Vet logo emblem piece, and on the back was a MasterCard logo. And so that was perfect for a coffee mug. Same thing with shirts. They want to have a shirt that commemorates their commitment to the club, as well as where they're headed. So that's pretty cool.
Perfect example.
Yep. Well, Terry, since I promised people 11, what else you got?
Well, we're in bonus time now, so
as well. No, I'm kidding. All right, so let's take a quick break here, Terry, and see if I can do this all at once. And
while you're looking for the right button to push, a reminder that I'm actually from this particular sponsor. I'm sitting in the office of Amy, one of the sales reps. So thanks, Amy, at Equipment Zone for vacating your office for an hour and a half. And who knew? I told you to be done, by noon. And here we are in bonus time. But let's hear a word from that sponsor, Equipment Zone. Our show today is sponsored by Equipment Zone. Go to equipmentzone.com for the Epson F2000 direct-to-garment printer. Equipment Zone is the only Epson reseller who sends a technician to every customer location for training. This is an absolutely free visit to your location. Equipment Zone is also the manufacturer of the #1 pre-treat machine in the industry, the Speed Treater TX. With no compressor and no special tanks, the Speed Treater TX is the easiest and most consistent pre-treat machine available worldwide. Go to equipmentzone.com for the Epson F2000, the Speed Treater TX, and for all your DTG inks and supplies. That's equipmentzone.com. That's equipmentzone.com. Yeah, and again, thanks to Equipment Zone for being our longest sponsor of the show. Aaron, I mentioned at the top of the show, we're doing the DTG Academy here at Equipment Zone in the all-new showroom. And the other speakers, Dane Clement, Jay Bassell, Matt Rome, they're all rock starring it in tonight. I got here yesterday. Well, I got here Wednesday night, and to make sure we're all set for the first event. But the first DTG Academy, and as far as I know, the first direct-to-garment class that's a complete business course on business and marketing, preparing your artwork, all the different things that are involved in starting a business. And next week, Equipment Zone will be announcing date for the next event here in New Jersey, and the next event that's going to be in Tempe, Arizona as well. So looking forward to announcing that.
Cool. Excellent. Well, Marshall did give us a number 11 here, Terry. So I just want to share that real quick. Pets, create a template for your local veterinary clinic. They sell for you and send you the photos of the pooch. You direct ship and cut the doctor in on the sale. Win-win for everybody. There we go. Thanks, Marshall, for
excellent example or excellent recommendation.
And thanks, Marshall, for covering for my mistake. So,
all right, Aaron. Well, what kind of events you have coming up?
Yeah, my main thing that I've been doing is every Saturday morning I've been putting out a 15 to 30 minute live video session and talking about tips and tricks for small businesses. I call it Small Business Saturdays, and it's been a lot of fun and getting more and more interaction over on my Facebook page at facebook.com/aaronmontgomery.info. This Saturday, I actually got some questions from the folks over at Printwear Magazine, and I'm going to answer them about sublimation on apparel. So should be fun discussing those, and then you also see the answers to some of those questions in the Printwear Q&A stuff that they put out via email. So appreciate Printwear giving me some content to bring to you guys. It should be a great conversation. I do it at 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, and whatever else is in between. And so I normally start the video about 15 minutes early to give everybody a chance to settle in, get your coffee, and get going. And then we start talking at 10 a.m. Central. So again, just like this, we want it to be very interactive and a great conversation. So, Terry, I don't think you have anything going on tomorrow, so I expect to see you there. Because you got to share your expertise on apparel sublimation. So
you've written a couple of articles that you pointed out to me, but
I just like to give you a hard time. I really don't care, but it's fun to give you a hard time about. So.
And to your credit, I have sent you a paragraph or two and said, "Okay, is this worded correctly?"
I should have like totally screwed it up and then be like, "Why do you have this hack?" No, I'm just kidding. All right. Yeah, it was a very good article, Terry, and it was very accurate. So good stuff. All right, Terry. Well, what do you have coming up here?
Well, speaking of articles, Aaron, I am looking for. I'm doing an article on direct screen printing on hats, and I'm looking for 2 or 3 or 4 photographs. Any of our listeners out there that are decorating on hats, if you could throw me some photographs, I will credit you and your company in the article, and you can. Reach me about that at info@terrycombs.com. Event-wise, of course, I'm doing the DTG Academy here at Equipment Zone outside of New York City, Saturday and Sunday with my friends that I mentioned earlier who are leisurely going to the airport right now to head over here tonight.
You don't seem bitter about that at all.
My complete screen printing business course with Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago. I'm doing that next weekend, June 9th and 10th. I'm not certain if that one's sold out yet. They normally do sell out, but if you're interested, go to atlasscreensupply.com. The Equipment Zone all-day Epson direct-to-garment class in Cleveland is going to be on June 14th. That's a free class we do the day before the NBM show opens. You can find that at thenbmshows.com. And my next complete screen printing business course in Phoenix at Workhorse Products is going to be July 21st through 22nd. All my events can be found under tour dates at terrycombs.com. And Aaron, hey, it's time for It's 5 Things, and you're up to bat.
All right. Well, as I mentioned, 5 things you must master to be a successful business owner. And because I always like to be different, I'm going to actually go in order from 5 until 1 and be, because I think there is an order of importance here. So, all right. So number 5, always be marketing, selling, closing, whichever acronym you want to use there. But as a business owner, it is not just the sales team's job. It's your job to always be promoting your business. So that's number 5. Number 4, become a process master, meaning everything in your business is a process of some sort, and you want to continually improve those processes at all times. And so you want to look to people in your business to help you improve those processes, because then it goes from being, hey, you screwed up, to, hey, how do we fix this process? So always become a process master. Number 3, learn how to do hiring as a process and not just as a gut feel. Too many business owners out there make some big mistakes with their employees because it seemed like a good idea, but didn't have an actual process to grade and vet out candidates. Number 2, understand and learn to be empathetic. Empathy is a huge skill for a successful business owner, in my opinion. And number 1 and most important thing to be a successful business owner, in my opinion, is learn how to work on your business, not in your business. Get yourself out of the minutia as much as possible, as soon as possible. So there we go. There's my 5 things.
That's an excellent list, and I think you have them in the exact correct order. So that's
yes,
great job.
Thank you. All right, Terry. Well, boy, what a great show. I think we've come to the close of another one here into bonus time. Thanks to everybody for all of their comments and joining us in today's live broadcast.
And we'd also like to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, who's under the weather today, but always working on the show with us. And he's with Deco Network. You can also find Eric at Eric with an H, Eric Campbell, ERICH, ericcampbell.com or eRich.
Yes.
Man, the guy's down and I'm still. Anyway,
what we do.
We'd also like to thank our sponsors, the Specialty Graphic Imaging Association and Equipment Zone. We very much appreciate all your support. Yep.
And Terry, next week's show, we're still working on that. We got a few things in the works, so we'll see what happens. We've got a few other shows down the road that I'm excited about. We're going to have later in June, we're going to have the ISA president on with us to talk about signs and that intersection between garments and signs and their show and what they do over there at ISA. So that'll be great and good stuff coming up.
Looking forward to that as well. Yeah. And so, Aaron, until then, he's Aaron Montgomery. I'm Terry Combs, and we are
the two regular guys.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.